Happy Turkey Day or post-Turkey Day. I hope everyone had a decent Thanksgiving. My folks had to throw out an entire turkey. They were going to make 2 turkeys. They left one in the garage for 2 days to defrost. And then the temperature went up into the 60s. So they couldn't risk it. They have to toss that turkey because it's probably spoiled. Doesn't matter. We had plenty of juicy turkey. The only thing I got to take home was a big-ass container of cornbread, and it's so delicious. I must have eaten 4 or 5 pieces between yesterday and this morning, and I still have half a container left. It was so yummy. So anyway, new information is coming out about the Q nightclub shooter. This guy says the fact that the cops tackled the man who stopped the Colorado Springs shooter, handcuffed him, and locked him in a cruiser feels way too much like those tackling the parents in Uvalde. In both cases, it wasn't enough to be useless. They had to punish those who tried to actually help. Because of regular people actually helping, like these heroes in Colorado who took the shooter out and stomped him out, people might start to see how cops don't really keep us safe, but we can keep us safe. People might start to do more community defense. They might see that strong communities can do what cops cannot. They might realize that defunding cops and funding strong communities might really be the answer. And cops just can't have that. I forget who said it after Uvalde, but a wise person had said it's not enough for cops to have a monopoly on violence. They want a monopoly on agency. They don't want us to feel able to act and protect one another. So we clearly have to do the opposite. We have to exercise our agency. We have to organize and take back power and build community safety independent from cops and carceral systems. Hope you plug into community organizing that's making this happen. This guy has a really great point. Of course, and this guy who apparently, I understand that there was a woman at the Q nightclub that legit stomped the shit out of this shooter with her high heel. Went right in there and did what, of course, cops wouldn't. And then there's this other guy who supposedly is a decorated veteran who also got involved and beat the shit out of the guy. And I got to pull up a photo of how beaten up he looked, although it's probably everywhere by now. If you've been following this, you've probably seen the mugshot photo. Yeah, is it surprising at all that they had to pull this guy away and they actually locked him in a squad car for something like 8 hours while he begged to know if everyone was okay? They have to find a way to make this guy look bad because he did what they wouldn't do. That's how it works. It's like this guy said, probably couldn't say it better myself. Not enough for police to have a monopoly on violence. They want a monopoly on agency. Well, I understand we are supposed to be paying tax dollars for cops to have that agency. What that agency means is it's supposed to be their job to get in between innocent people and dangerous people. We know that they refuse to do that. They don't want to do it. you hear about so much violence against people. You could have a tail light out, and then the next thing you know, your neck is broken. That's okay. But standing around during a school shooting or arresting a guy for taking down a mass shooter in a nightclub when you wouldn't do it, that's something especially reprehensible. Of course, this guy was going to be cuffed and put away, sitting in a squad car. They have to find a way to make him look bad. They have to find a way to get him out of the way, to silence this man, because he did what they won't do. In effect, he did their jobs for them, and that doesn't look good for them. Of course, they're going to treat him badly, and this is why people are calling for the defunding of cops. This is why people are angry when this type of shit happens, when they're willing to jump into harm's way, when the cops won't. When I grew up, and I'm sure when everybody was growing up, that's what we were taught police are for. I have to say this, Jimmy Dore said it perfectly. I don't agree with Jimmy Dore on a lot of things, but I think it was right after the whole fiasco with the riots against police a few years ago. He had such an excellent week tearing these pigs apart, and I must have gotten that playlist and I must have played it over like 100 times. I just love Jimmy Dore for his views on the police at that time. Like I said again, I'll say it again, I don't believe everything that Jimmy Dore says. I actually haven't listened to him in a very long time, but he was dead on correct about cops. As we were all raised to believe, as we all tend to think, that is supposed to be a cop's job. You are not going out there so that you go home safe. You are going out there so that I get home safe. You are involved to get in between me and a bad person. You know, like you love to think that you're the good guys. These cops love to think they're the good guys, and they do absolutely nothing without them being 100% in the right. That is the original reason we gave you that agency. That's the reason we pay our tax dollars to you. That's the reason you get better health insurance and retirement benefits than any of us get. And it's all on our dime. We give that to you because the understanding was you go out there so that we never have to get shot, so that we never have to suffer, so that when something bad happens involving a really bad guy like a mass shooter, we are not going to get hurt. Our children aren't going to get hurt because your job is to get in between those innocents and the shooter. Your job is supposed to be seen as dangerous. You may not get home that night. In the course of your duties, protecting people. That's what the understanding is supposed to be. And of course, there was that Supreme Court decision. I don't know if it's just in the one state or if it affects all states, and does it really matter? When a judge says that police are under no obligation to protect you, well, then a lot of things make sense, don't they? a lot of profiling of minorities, a lot of violence against people for nothing begins to make a lot of sense. And I've said this before in videos that if you look at all these incidents, if you look at all these cases of people just getting brutalized or outright murdered by cops, it always seems to be the people that cannot defend themselves very well, okay? It's always children getting shot in the back, women pulled over for ostensibly routine traffic stops, the traffic violations, getting diddled on the side of the road, old ladies getting yanked out of their cars and beaten to within an inch of their life, old men getting knocked down where their heads are split open, and they expect to get away with it. Well, when you have a system that has no qualms telling its people, no, they don't have to protect you. They don't have to protect you, and anything they do is 100% justified. They can attack, do whatever the hell they want with impunity. You're going to continue to pay them. You're going to pay them even if we do find them guilty of wrongdoing, and we transfer them or we even fire them. We allow them, first of all, to resign, and that's something that burns my ass. A lot of times, the most they'll do to hold these pigs accountable is they will accept resignations. Do you understand what a resignation means? Resignation means they chose to hang it up for at least a limited amount of time. And they will still get your tax dollars. They still get their pension. They resign so they can keep their pension. A cop who does wrong and is afraid of the public fallout, who hands in his resignation, is doing it so that he can keep his pension, so that you can keep paying him. Now he's not doing his job. He doesn't even have to pretend to do his job. And you're going to pay for his medical insurance. You're going to pay for his medication. You're going to pay for his retirement. It's absolutely ridiculous.
This.
What is this? Oh, I think these are Sikhs. This puts a smile on my face. I've been called ISIS a lot recently. Americans see Sikhs and automatically think you're a terrorist. The turban is what makes us a target. Why don't you just go, hey, I'm not a Muslim? Well, it's not just an option for us to throw another community under the bus. Even if it means things are harder for us, we believe it's the right thing to do. We need to be better than that as Americans, and that's what our Sikh values teach us as well. That's neat. That's going above and beyond, because Sikhs aren't Muslim, and it is absolutely true. It's absolutely accurate. You're not, I don't think you'd necessarily be throwing another community under the bus by simply saying, look, we know that when you say terrorist, you mean to say you think we're Muslim because we have beards and we wear turbans, but no, we're not Muslim. But they understand what they're really saying. If they were to say, we're not Muslim, it could still put Muslims in more danger. I did not need to see this today. Oh my God. The kids from Mrs. Doubtfire. I've seen Mara Hobel tweeting a few times. Wow, that older girl does not look the same as an adult as she did as a kid. Whatever. A Darth Vader toilet. Sure. Sure. I haven't been on white people Twitter in a little bit. Just arrived at the Al Bayt Stadium for England's game, and my cameraman, wearing the rainbow-colored watch strap his son got him, was stopped by security and refused entry. Clearly, the message from FIFA is still not getting through. Look, you want to know something? I'll say it. It's your fault. It's your fault for going in there. You know, and there are Qatari people, there are Muslim individuals that are bitching at everybody. You need to respect us. You need to respect this. Okay, well, you know, fine. Then have your World Cup with no audience. That's what I would say. You know, you want to be involved with the World Cup. Hey, Monster 6 Jam, okay? You want to be involved in the World Cup, and, you know, that's kind of like you want to be included on the world stage. You want to be recognized as a perfectly suitable venue for an international event that millions upon millions upon millions of people from countries all over the world want to partake in. They want to spectate. You know what? Sure, I mean, your rules are your rules, and so it's up to all these spectators to say, fuck you, don't go. You know, FIFA must have had rocks in their head bringing it to Qatar, but from what I hear, the money is still good, so that's, you know, the bottom line, all they really care about. But you know what? I'm getting sick of hearing these people. You know, I'm wearing a rainbow, so they won't allow me entry. You know, I'm wearing the wrong shirt, so they won't allow me entry. Then go the fuck home. Don't deal with it. You know, they can have their rules, and you can hold on to your own values at the same time by just not going. That would make quite a statement. It's Thanksgiving weekend. Barack Obama is volunteering at a soup kitchen. Donald Trump is dining with Nazis. Any questions? The majority of MAGA are racist, homophobic, anti-Semitic, and or misogynistic. Who agree? Who wouldn't agree at this point? That's like calling the fucking sky blue. Weird that it's only Republicans who accidentally hang out with Nazis. Oh, you can't blame them entirely. These people think that they're really, really smart and they're really, really mature and they've got everything all figured out, and they're just looking for somebody with like interests and a like mind, to speak with. And, it's actually shocking to them when it turns out that person's a fucking white supremacist. They dream of a democracy where bots, but not black people, can vote. Whose Thanksgiving turkey looked more delicious, mine or Marge's? Who was it that said Toe Jam Green's turkey actually looks like a white supremacist? Now they're threatening Apple because Apple's going to remove Twitter from the App Store for hate speech. Here's the deal, Apple. If you ban Twitter from App Store after Musk's takeover over a few woke activists falsely arguing it's now a haven for hate speech, then it will trigger millions abandoning iPhone for a mobile phone that actually respects their free speech. Yeah. This is why you're stupid, Kyle Becker. A huge-ass company like Apple would not ban Twitter from its App Store over a few woke activists falsely arguing. A company like Apple would be banning Twitter from the App Store because it is a new haven for hate speech. A company like Apple pays consultants to do this type of work for them. They pay people to follow these trends and tell them whether or not it's going to be smart business to continue associating with certain people, certain names, certain companies. You're a fucking idiot. Drag word story hour. That place is harmful to children. How? Bang, bang, ha, ha. Pretty much how it is. That's a good cartoon. My duckling fell asleep on my calculator. I know it's been posted 1,000 times, but how can I not love it every time I see it? Poor little duckling. I am neither left nor right, proceeds to exclusively use the most deranged far-right rhetoric you've ever heard. Yes, of course. Hi, kids. It's me, your favorite sexagenarian here, to tell you that when I was a kid, we taxed the shit out of the wealthy, and not only did we have money to build bridges and schools and moon rockets, Rich people still had plenty of money left over to spend on rich people bullshit. That's absolutely true. We tax the rich at like 91%, I think. They called it the golden age of America because we used all of those funds to do wonderful things in this country. And people were living good. I'm talking money-wise, economically. Everyone could afford a home. One guy, usually dad, overwhelmingly it was dad, could work like 30, 40 hours a week on the job, not even, and he got enough money to take care of a whole goddamn household. He had the house, the white picket fence, the housewife, the 2.5 kids, the dog, the nice vehicle, could take the fam on vacation 2 or 3 times a year. You know, that father knows best, Dennis the Menace, Dick Van Dyke, Beaver Cleaver type of lifestyle. And you know what? Freaking white supremacists will look back on that shit fondly. That whole Make America Great Again thing, that's the time period they look back on fondly. And they don't even want to admit the reason it was so great for a lot of people is because we taxed the fuck out of the rich. Back then, your boss didn't make much more than you did. And of course, every woman was a housewife because every woman, none of them, had to work. You didn't need 2 incomes or, like nowadays, more than 2 incomes to get by. Dad made more than enough at his job. He could be pumping gas for a living, and he still could make enough to carry an entire fucking household with a wife that didn't work. And when you had a wife that didn't work, you had a wife that took care of all that housework that you, as a working man, didn't have to worry about. Nowadays, it's all on your shoulders. Back then, you know, Dad could be out of the house 40 hours a week. He didn't have to worry about laundry. He didn't have to worry about grocery shopping or preparing the meals or picking the kids up from school when they got sick or, you know, scrubbing the bathroom floor, doing the dishes. He didn't have to worry about any of that because there was somebody at home to take care of that. Hey, FBI, there are giant accounts calling for violence towards LGBT people. They called for violence in Colorado last week. Early this morning, someone shot 23 people, killing 5 of them. Twitter is allowing them to call out more LGBTQ spaces. Where are you? Yeah, the FBI that the right hates so much. Yeah, FBI, you should give the right a reason to hate you. Where the fuck are you?
Ah ha ha ha. Oh yes, cyanide and happiness has been banned from Twitter. So now people have to fight to get them reinstated. I really don't care that those people got killed. And you say, that sounds hateful, Pastor. Well, it is hateful, 'cause I do hate them. Yeah, where is the FBI? The brown shirt shouldn't... Wait a minute. The brown shirts shouldn't intimidate you. They're incels with no self-esteem. Hey, GOP leader Marjorie Tojam Green had spent some time with Nick here. How does that sit with you? You cool with Holocaust denial, etc.? Probably, right? This is who Donald Trump just had dinner with. This is going to be the most racist, sexist, anti-Semitic, Holocaust-denying speech in all of Dallas this weekend. Elon Musk is also lifting his permanent Twitter ban because free speech. Favorite Twitter memories: Scott Baio calling me a loser, James Woods calling me an asshole, Dolly Parton sending me a DM to say she thought something I wrote was funny. Aw, I want Dolly Parton to say hi to me. I want Dolly Parton to say hi. Laid off from Twitter, called back, now fired. Was laid off from Twitter in early November and told I would receive 3 months of pay as severance. I was called back shortly after that because they think I am critical talent and was asked to do documentation and provide code samples. Last night, was abruptly fired without any reason and was offered 4 weeks severance for signing release of claims agreements. Any employment lawyers, please DM me. You ever stop to think that they're calling back all these laid off people just to fire them after a couple of days because he doesn't want to pay them the 3 months of severance? The richest cuck in the entire fucking world doesn't even want to waste the money in 3 months of severance for people. I wonder if anybody has gotten that yet. And yes, he does need an attorney. It's a pretty good scam. Offer someone 3 months severance, hire them back, fire them, so you only have to pay 1 month severance. Exactly. Why pay them? That's how the cookie crumbles. I'm good at making crumbles. But Elon is so wonderful and smart and successful. He's justified in his choices because he's the almighty billionaire being. Church of Elon coming to a town near you. Just goes to show that no matter how invaluable you are, corporations are not your friend. It's a complete mystery to me why these returning laid-off people won't negotiate a new contract. And I love that this is getting downvoted. If any company fired me and then asked me back because I was essential, there's no way I'm going back through those doors on the same salary and without some kind of pre-agreed severance package. Some of them are on visas. they did just get fired. So, being called back must seem like a relief to them. That's sad. Yeah, nobody ever said capitalism was friendly. You don't say! What I've learned from all this Twitter shit: if offered 3 months severance, take it. If they try to hire me back, that's entirely separate, and I will still get the severance in addition to my new salary. Negotiate so new salary is higher than old salary. Do dick all work once hired back and continue looking for a new job. Classic bait and switch. Well, you don't say. Nick Cage meme. This turkey is so white and unseasoned that it tried to overthrow the government. Ta! Oh my god. Right-wing billionaire edgelord gets owned on the social media site that he owns. What do you think of the culture war? This is like an arsonist asking what people think about setting entire cities ablaze. Ha ha ha. Here's what Elon Musk fails to understand. Another Robert Reich. I gotta follow him on Twitter. Much of corporations' value lies in their workers, their knowledge, skills, ideas, labor. When he fired half of Twitter's workforce and drove off even more, he wasn't cutting costs. He was actively destroying what he bought. And you know what? It's not going to mean anything to him because he's still going to be a fucking billionaire. I know there's a lot of people that want to think that Twitter has become too invaluable. It's like a big public square, and even though it's privately owned, people either want to make it a true public forum, or it's kind of like acting as practice for a real public forum paid for by taxes and shit like that. Because in the age of the web, everyone thinks that we need that. Why wouldn't there be an official town square? Virtual town square, you know? I don't know. It's just, you know, and these people are all upset. Twitter can't go to shit because it means so much to a lot of people, and I don't think he really gives a shit. He doesn't have to give a shit. I mean, a lot of people fucking hate Musk. They make fun of Musk, even though he owns Twitter. I think maybe he's indifferent as to whether it rises or falls or remains the same. It's not going to mean anything to him. I think he just wants a hand in this. You know, like what people are saying about how he so desperately wants to be seen as cool and smart, and he's 50. You know, maybe that's all it is. He wants to be recognized when people go to Twitter. Something really big in the age of the web, where everyone's on the internet, where everyone's all over social media. He wants to be involved so he can be recognized. And if it turns to shit, who cares? He's still Elon Musk, the richest guy in the world. Multi-billionaire. You know, ultimately, it doesn't even matter. It won't matter that he spent $44 billion on a fucking social media site, and if it crashes and burns and he loses all that money, it still doesn't matter. He's still the richest man in the world. He's not gonna starve. To the GOP, Blue Lives Matter only when the police benefit their agenda. But after their MAGA leader was caught stealing state secrets, suddenly the cops become their scapegoat and we should defund them. How ironic. Americans are retiring to Vietnam for cheap health care and a great standard of living. The U.S. is still losing to Vietnam to this day, LOL. Huh. You know what? I actually wish that, you know, all this shit people do, you know, Instagram, all about making your life look so interesting and pretending you're a model, and then you got these people on YouTube that are recording every moment of their lives, like people give a shit what they're eating for dinner. This is what I want to see. I want like daily video, you know, updates. I want vlogs from people who have moved to Singapore or Vietnam or France, you know, other countries that have just up and become expats. Just got up and got the fuck out of the United States, moved to another country so they don't have to worry about health care, so they can live in a peaceful society, so they can relax, so they can get decent jobs, so they can have a great standard of living. I don't want to read in articles the top 10 places that you might want to consider moving to. I want to know from the source. I want to hear from expats. I want vlogs from them telling me what it looks like in their neighborhood and how much they make for their work and what the food is like and what their homes look like. You know, how much would this cost in American dollars and vice versa? Because I'm honestly, seriously thinking, if I got the opportunity, maybe if I got some money, or maybe not even if I got a lot of money, I've actually thought quite a few times about jetting the fuck out of here. The reason Elon Musk fanboys haven't heard of Trent Reznor is because he makes music women like to have sex to. Oh, Will Wheaton wrote an open letter, at least posted this on Twitter, I think, bitching out Elon Musk because Trent Reznor had left Twitter due to mental health concerns. Gotta love Will Wheaton. You've got to love Will Wheaton. You know? I don't know if I liked him so much on The Big Bang Theory, but of course, I was a huge, huge fan of Star Trek Next Gen. And gotta love Will Wheaton just for that shit. So, I'm taking a break. Then I'm coming back and I'm reading this shit. All right. Back again. What is this? My friend said I need fine girlfriend. They said I look like alien boy. Okay. I don't know about that, dude. So, once again, Trent Reznor leaves Twitter due to mental health concerns. Elon calls him out, so Will Wheaton steps in. I cannot fathom the emptiness, the insecurity, the insatiable need for attention and validation, the staggering arrogance, malevolence, and total void of human experience that is Elon Musk. He is the richest man on the planet. You can't go anywhere or do anything without interacting with something he's part of in some way. There are literal millions of people who uncritically worship him, in spite of overwhelming evidence that he is a douchebag. Some number of them will come after me, as they'll come after anyone who points at their naked emperor. They'll spend entire days going after me and people like me, slavishly serving a man who does not even know they exist. They are his army of fools, uncritically serving his every whim, and it still is not enough. He can have any material thing he wants, and he will never be happy or satisfied. He has no real friends. Every single person around him is either a viper, a parasite, or both. So what does he do? Well, yes, men, I guess. So what does he do? He bullies and threatens and harasses and trolls and behaves like the weak, scared, insecure child he's always been. That's a tragedy for him, but it's dangerous for us. He doesn't care what he destroys or who he hurts as he chases this existential thing he will never have. You know the saying, hurt people, hurt people? He's a hurt person who is hurting our society, making people I care about less safe. The consequences of this one man's midlife crisis are global, and that terrifies me. I have got to check the commentary on this. I read this yesterday or the day before. I think it was the day before. Elon has done the unthinkable and made Jeff Bezos seem like a swell guy. I don't think that's by accident. I'm willing to bet that, Bezos swept in with this, I'm going to spend all my money on other people, because he knows Musk made a boo-boo in buying Twitter. I've seen more humanity in the empty eyes of the Zuck compared to Elon. Hell, even Ted Cruz seems more of a non-lizard person than Elon. Whoa, you choose Texas Dracula? Let's not get too crazy here. Obligatory fuck Musk. That said, I was maybe on the Zuckerberg comparison, but no, Ted is slimier, skeevier, and more gross. Musk is like silver level gross and gold level hateful troll with small dick energy. Careful, talk like that, he might call you a pedophile. Steve Jobs, by his own account, was a self-obsessed jerk. Billionaires are a strange breed. Turns out a lifetime surrounded by sycophants makes people shitty. They're all awful people, it's just that Musk doesn't hide it. Reddit spends almost zero time obsessing over all the other awful billionaires and the awful things they do and fund, because they're quiet about it. Musk made the mistake of being awful on the world stage. The others are at least smart enough to be awful quietly by killing people and destroying cultures and ecosystems in poor countries. That's the thing I can't fathom. If I had as much money as he does, you know what I would do? Retire forever. I'd buy a house, maybe 3 if I wanted to be really extravagant, and enjoy different climates throughout the year. I'd buy the very best of everything. I'd buy a few extravagances like my own Slurpee machine in the kitchen, maybe. I'd throw millions at friends and family, and then I would just disappear. I'd find some passion project that isn't actually profitable and spend my years doing that till I was done. Or I'd take classes about any subject that interested me in perpetuity until I got bored. I'd travel. I cannot fathom wasting my money on a public jack-off session. Well, that's nice. He's just a quiet guy. Real evil doesn't telegraph. What? Hussein, Gaddafi, Amin, Jong-un, Putin? I won't even go further back in history. All real evil, all telegraphed. Bezos has pledged to give away his wealth. Musk hasn't pledged to give away any. But he is blowing 44 billion Saudi dollars. As I grow older, I really do feel more and more bad for all the shit I gave that boy on Star Trek. He's grown into the closest thing a Starfleet officer could be in this joke of a society. Thanks, Will. He was almost always professional, skilled, and helpful on Star Trek. I guess nobody took him seriously. For me, when I watched as a kid, he just felt like such a suck-up. I definitely carried that mentality for way too long. It was hard to relate as another kid to that kind of responsibility and mutual respect. I think in a sense the suck-up attitude was understandable. This is a young kid who dreamed of going to the academy, becoming an officer, and all of a sudden he gets a post on the bridge with all the highest ranked officers on the vessel, including the captain. Of course he's starry-eyed. Okay, how did this get into a conversation about Will Wheaton's character on Star Trek? Spot on, Will. This man-child, like Trump, is a cancer on our society. I think, like Trump and Joe Rogan, Musk has a tendency to parrot the opinions of whoever he last spoke to as gospel truth. Every far-right figure who asks him to talk about scary leftists gets a very true or troublesome or indeed as a faux intellectual response, as if he never considered their argument before. Mental illness is pretty rampant in the circles that people like Trump and Musk are in. He really started believing his own bullshit and no one around him will correct him. Those that do get fired. Classic narcissism. Okay. Elon seems to be having a pretty terrible midlife crisis, and it seems like he actually has no one around him who really cares about him. But fuck him. I hope Twitter falls soon. I wish he gets pushed out of his other businesses too. The richest man in the world is an abject fucking loser. Thanksgiving yesterday, my cousin was boasting that Elon Musk is going to be this planet's savior. I had no idea how to respond. He meant by leaving and going to Mars, his absence will benefit us greatly. Okay. Will Wheaton, you beautiful bastard. Now I gotta go watch his Leverage episodes again. Aww. You know, I was about to make a snarky comment along the lines of, when you get spanked in an argument by Wesley Crusher, then I realized how unfair that is. And I just orgasmed. I love him now. Will, come. Let me have your baby. Honestly, if I had a daughter of age and she was dating Will, I'd be one happy father. Damn you, Will Wheaton. You absolutely hit the nail on the head with this one. One could say you Wesley Crushered it. I stand by Will. Poetic murder. I now have a new goal in life, to be the anti-Elon. Is Trent Reznor okay? So Glass Onion drops on Netflix soon, so you need to watch that shit. Ed Norton will play a fantastic Elon Musk analog. I don't know. I don't know. He is dangerous to society. While he's obviously imploding and destroying any glimmer of a positive legacy in his path, he does need to be stopped at some point. He's inflaming violence, hatred, and anger. A racist egomaniac should not have this much power. The fact that a vile person can go unchecked just for being rich will be the downfall. He just got weeded. You better eat your Wheaties. Please hurry, it's all I want for Christmas. Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack hurry up and indict this dick. A rainbow appeared on the pitch before Wales versus Iran. And all matches today have been canceled because of a rainbow on the field. Elon's child died in his arms the same way he founded PayPal. God. And this is like, it's all Elon Musk shit on white people Twitter. Not even safe from an airplane freakout on Thanksgiving. Well, that's good. At Seattle, a man was arrested after throwing Heil Hitler salutes and screaming about a race war. So he basically acted like Cartman in the middle of an airport. Trains, planes, and racism. No mirror. Oh, why is this up here? This was the best X Factor clip. Maybe it's on this one.
Sing Heil! March to Detroit! Heil Hitler! Sing Heil! Race war! Heil Hitler, I can fight. I can write the thing I want. Fucking filthy Jewish scum! Oh, the Jews got with this. They killed the 20. You're from aliens. The aliens, right? A reptilian. Nothing you need to say. I didn't do anything wrong. You're treating me like a kid. I don't have reason. I don't have to walk before the trees. For that.
Just like with the January 6 people, we need some kind of an emergency law. We start arresting and leaving these people with the very real prospect of time in prison, state prison, for doing this type of shit. I mean, it could be, first of all, we can do whatever the hell we want. We can rightfully say that it counts as incitement of a riot. We the people can do whatever we want. We can easily make this the type of thing that he could not only get arrested for, but he could face time in prison for. And just like with all the January 6 rioters, we will be able to discern who is severely, legitimately mentally ill and who is just desperate for attention. If this guy, for example, is just desperate for attention, then he will back off all of it at the prospect of spending 2 or 3 years in state prison pretty fucking quick. If it turns out he's really mentally ill, then we can make a record of that and put him in prison anyway. Or lock him up in a hospital for a few years. Either way, his life would be pretty fucked after that. But seriously, we can eliminate probably 90% of this bullshit if these types of behaviors came with the serious risk of imprisonment. I don't want to see this bullshit. God. I'm sorry, but it really sucks that I don't really want to be bothered with the shit going on in China because we have enough shit going on in our country. It's sad. I wish we were good enough in this country that we could really focus on, the plight of others. But we've just got way too many problems here. I don't even want to look at videos of protests about COVID still going on in China. Huh. World is falling apart because of a rainbow makeup tutorial. Okay, forget it. King Boo is not a villain. King Boo is fat and cute, so he can't be a villain anyway. Look at another one. The look Ben gives you after you finish snorting coke and unrolls him. Oh my God, you're so cool, so edgy and wild. Okay. I will check this out if there's a mirror. Ew. Okay, no. No mirror, I ain't watching this. I live my life by the zodiac and won't date anyone I'm not compatible with. Woman reveals why she ditches dates even if she really likes them. Well, facepalm it might be, but her choice it still is. Gasoline skateboard trick. Z-list influencer puts up Christmas tree. This is newsworthy. Fern McCann puts up Christmas tree after tough few weeks. It's a tabletop Christmas tree. Pretty though. Elon is so immature. Yes, we know. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Wednesday, $8.99.99. Hold. Thursday, $8.99.99. Hold. Black Friday, $8.99.99. Marked down from $10.99.99. That's right. Herschel Walker blames wife's awful genes for son being an ugly baby. It ain't because you're fucking ugly as shit, is it? The new norm, where have they been the past decade? Front page of today's paper from Dallas, Texas. Are shootings the new norm? Yeah, I stopped trusting mainstream media when I saw this a few years ago.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about trouble and trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 This is extremely dangerous to our...
Yeah, I've seen videos like these before. I've seen them in documentaries too. You could say a big reason for this kind of bullshit is because no matter what news program you're watching or what channel you're watching it on, a whole bunch of them in a group are simultaneously owned by the same people. I think, what did they say? That Soros funds a lot of the left-wing news companies, and Rupert Murdoch runs most of the right wing, and it goes from there. It might also be, you know, in a way, I don't totally freak out watching these types of montages, because you get the same thing on social media. You get the same thing on YouTube, for instance. I used to watch a lot of beauty vids, and there's this whole new vocabulary that sprung up when it comes to beauty products and methods and techniques. And it's the same in the gaming community. It's the same in any type of community, because they all copy off of one another. They all watch each other's videos and they steal shit from them. So you get one person using a particular phrasing or a term for a product or a technique, like in the beauty community, and then you'll hear it on the next person's video. You'll hear it on the next person's video. Pretty soon, every beauty vid you go to, they're going to be using the exact same terminology. They're going to be saying the exact same thing. 'Cause after a while, nobody really has a brain in their head. They can't do things all on their own, because a lot of these people really don't have their own talent or skill. You know, they want to do something, they look to others for how to speak, how to act. And like I said, it's the same in the gaming community. It's the same in the crafting community. It's the same in the culinary community. They all rip off of each other. That surely could be what's going on here, because they, television and print media is being superseded by what's going on with social media, online, the web, the internet. And they're probably using the same tactics. They're looking to certain sources. They're ripping people off. Certain phrases, certain terms, certain delivery devices. I'm sure the person who made this montage, I'm sure it's the same with, anybody who watches television news could probably attest to this. It's already the same with their graphics, with their color scheme. It's always red, white, and blue. It's always the same type of graphics. It's the same stupid wardrobe that all these Karens wear. It's the same greetings. The only things that are really interchangeable are the people's actual names. But it's in all aspects of television news. You hear a certain phrase on one channel, you're going to hear it on all of them. You see a certain color scheme on one channel, you're going to see it on all of them. Even with the number of anchors, the transitions between clips, everything is the same, no matter which channel you go to, because they all rip off of each other. They all try to outdo one another. They all try to compete with one another. And in the middle of all of this, you don't get anything new. You don't get anything fresh. Once somebody does come up with something that works, something that's new, something that's fresh, everyone else is going to rip it off. I don't know. I guess it doesn't really bother me too much how they segue from one clip to another, or how these overprimped Karens and Kens introduce themselves on news programs. What I care about is the actual news, what they're showing, how they're covering it, what they choose to cover and what they choose not to cover, because that's a big concern. That's the major concern with television and print news. What information you get is dependent on what channel you turn to. It's dependent on which publication you purchase. Look at Fox News. As soon as the election was over, they said reports of violent crime went down on Fox by like 65%. Everybody knows Fox is the network that will completely gloss over the most important, talked about news on any day if it makes right-wingers look bad. They will completely gloss over victims of shootings. They will completely gloss over the inaction of police, because their audience are bootlickers. Their audience doesn't like LGBTQ. So while everybody's hearing about a shooting at a Q nightclub in Colorado Springs, while everybody is hearing the stories of the survivors and learning about the identities of the victims, you will not see anything about it on right-wing news programs. And that's what the real concern is. That could be considered yellow journalism. That is not what your job is as a journalist. Your job is to inform the public. Anything that goes on, especially when it comes to public safety, your job is supposed to be to report it, to say what happens, what's going on in the reality we exist in. You know, that's the only thing news stations and publications are really for. And they, constitutionally speaking, you know, journalists are that one group that, in the process of getting the information, can actually be considered above the law. It is their responsibility to get the information to the people. But, you know, when you have billionaires that own the news, they own all of these stations, they thus own the people that write the scripts and present the news. You know, what do you expect is going to happen? What do you think you're going to end up with? Aww. Having an affair with an unhappy married woman whose husband won't share a bed with her. I now know it's because she snores like a warthog. I feel his pain. But not when you're banging her, huh? I bet you keep going back, and that's how you know. My local paper published an article online about a community meal yesterday for Thanksgiving. They decided to use this guy's picture in the article. He is a known and registered sex offender. His offense involved a minor under 13. Not to, you know, defend a sex offender or anything, but chances are likely he's eating at a shelter because he can't get a job anywhere, or his family has disowned him. But whatever. Okay. So I got Mech 4 Mercenaries up and running again, but I actually started playing it without broadcasting because I'm having way too much fun with the entire Inner Sphere mech pack at my disposal, along with all kinds of new awesome weapons that are not in the original game. And so I guess I'm just going to continue to have fun with it for a little bit before I come back and broadcast my play. But if you see me again later for gaming, it's most likely going to be what I'm playing right now. I know I have to finish Clock Tower Return of Scissorman. I have to do the last Helen scenario, but I'm having too much fun with Mech 4 Mercenaries in the expansion right now. But I will be back with it soon. Mwah.